Yesterday was the 100-meter World Championship, first ever. Today is the 5K World Championship. We have athletes from all over the world coming. The best obstacle racers in the United States, in Europe, all come here for this gorgeous, gorgeous start. 4+ miles, 3 swims, which they're not used to, some tricky climbs. We're extremely excited about this morning's race. I've seen Sean Roberts running around here earlier. He's one of the faster Americans. I've seen the Dutch running around here. I've seen Gregory Basilico, who's a previous champion, running around here. We've got most of the fastest men in the world, and women, sorry. We've got the women starting a little bit later on this morning, and we're extremely excited.
He will give you information in his own specific way. Now you like this way. He pumps you up. He prepared you for yesterday's sport, this race. And he will do the same today.
No. We really help if we could.
Only 5 minutes before the start of Spartan Sprint World Championship.
Good race, guys. I wasn't ready.
It's the other way.
Spartans, I hope you're ready. Prepare for another adventure. Prepare for another race. For another battle.
Pour info, il entend toujours pas les commentaires.
You can call it whatever you want. You ready?
Moi je parle plus depuis tout à l'heure.
Et tu l'entends.
Quand ils parlent tous, on s'entend pas.
Dans une minute.
Alright guys. And soon we will bring you to the start zone. And here we go. Spartans, welcome. We are preparing for the Sprint World Championship male category here in Hvar 2024. Good morning from my side, ladies and gentlemen out there, dear man, dear smaller racing here, and a pre-start line. The most race.
Jérémy pour Benjamin. Oui, Jérémy pour Benjamin. Ok, c'était pour le test. Ouais, ça marche pour moi. Thibaut pour Benjamin, tu me reçois? Ok, au top, ça marche. C'est Benjamin.
Step forward, Sami Labros. Gregory Basilico. Manuel Dubon. Stefano Colombo.
Il reste 2 minutes. Moi je suis toujours 3 mais je sais pas.
You're racing
Ok, cool.
What's this? No?
for World Championship. You race everything out in the briefing. Yes, we have 6 point something meters. You have section. If you jump into the water and you skip the swimming, you will be transferred to the open. And you have to do 90 penalties. 90 penalties. I don't think Thomas mentioned it yesterday. And please be aware of the first meters. You don't win the race the first meters. It's really slippery out there. We have some poles in the middle. If you run against these poles, it hurts a lot. Okay? So it's time, Hvar City Center, it's time to welcome the fastest athletes of today's sprint. Hvar, out there, are you ready for the racers? We want more. Dear athletes, now it's time to start. Remember why you're here. You've trained for exactly this moment. This is World Championship 2024. I want to hear loud and clear a room if you're ready. Spartans, are you ready? Okay.
Ouais, super.
Uphill, then they get down to the big eight break at the end of the 100 meter. At the start of
Ouais, j'y suis.
Can you hear me? No.
Yeah, I hear you.
What if you give me the other numbers from earlier? Do you think that's what it is? The other numbers in there? Because this is nothing. Do you want to try that?
Try to reconnect, maybe.
Yeah, with the different numbers, with the other numbers.
En bas. Ouais. Attention. Moi je vais lâcher, je reviens dessus. bon, j'y suis. Ok, caméra 3, vous avez rien là? Caméra 3. Parce que les deux autres radis sont au bord de l'eau. Allez, mais là, je sais pas quoi faire, hein, franchement. Ok, je suis.
Ok. Quoi comme est-ce que PC. Hello. Quelqu'un, s'il vous plaît.
Frank still in the lead.
Hello.
You guys are coming back behind. It's not the
Régis,
fastest.
quelqu'un.
When I use the computer.
As long as it fits.
Qu'est-ce que vous entendez comme micro?
Personne shift au milieu.
Christine, yeah, I think so.
It's the only thing when you know them first person to recognize it.
Oh, gotta be careful because right now we're not even live, but there's 30 seconds more, so we'll have to.
Yeah,
Mais pourquoi là, ils sont live là?
that's more just.
Yeah,
Mais
but
est-ce que
then-
ça sent?
Oh, but we'll be commenting English.
Yeah,
Est-ce que
that's
ça
just
prend le
fine.
son de leur c'est ça qui-
Okay. That's the look everywhere. They actually have to go down, then they'll be running around the water.
You're gonna stay out of the way.
Instead, we're gonna look at the shirt. There's one way with the shirt, and that could be helpful. This one's
One of the
color.
pictures, maybe?
Non, attends. Je peux pas moi faire ça.
Ouais. Ouais. Je recoupe vers le log. Je suis obligé
Oui,
de revenir vers le log, moi.
est-ce que
moi je retourne vers la plage. Essaye d'être stable, Benjamin, pour pas que ça saute ton image. Essaye d'être stable pour pas que ton image saute. La régie, est-ce que vous entendez Thibaut quand il vous parle? Il vient de vous poser une question. Ok, est-ce que tu m'entends? Ah, t'as trop vu? Un petit récap, qui est-ce qui passe à... Quelles sont les caméras qui marchent? J'ai l'impression qu'on m'entend pas.
C'est très, non? Pas ouf, hein, la vitesse, hein?
Il n'y a qu'une caméra qui marche.
C'est la tienne? Go, go.
Je suis au sommet des escaliers. Est-ce que la caméra de Thibaut passe? Je crois qu'ils nous entendent pas, mais toi tu passes pas. Ouais, je suis en train. Reste pas dans le champ du coup. Benjamin, tu peux tout rebooter. Ok, tu les entends, c'est bon. Thibaut, ça marche pas, toi? Non. Benjamin, t'es bon.
Hello and welcome to the Sprint World Championships live coverage here in Hvar, Croatia. We apologise for some technical issues that got us to you a little bit late, but you have had some incredible pictures of this men's race. I am not Matt B. Davis, I am Francesca Curando, and I am joined by Martin Perrier. We're here to bring you the live coverage, which you've already seen. Welcome, Martin.
C'est bon, te fatigue pas. Il faut que.
Mais il le dit pas.
Moi j'entends.
Start by the island.
This island is beautiful. I've been wanting to get into that sea all weekend.
They are now up in the city with some more running. Not many obstacles on the start of that course, but it's gonna come back on the second half when they get to a castle overlooking the town and the sea, and then they're gonna get to a more obstacle-heavy part of the course.
I think what's really interesting about this course that we've seen so far is the terrain is completely different. I mean, perhaps we see terrain similar to this in Sparta somewhat, but they very quickly get into the mountains. But we can see them currently running through residential areas. We've seen the start was on cobblestones, which is very interesting, the kind of shoe choice that you make. It was wet. The water from the port is kind of slipping over onto those stones, and they did in fact say on the start line, be careful with your footing here. It's going to make an interesting. Everything about this race is slightly different. You know, it is a runner's course, we'd say. It's not so obstacle heavy, but there are those swims. With the runner's course, there are some people that we'd expect to do well, but we don't know how they are at swimming, so we're not quite sure how they're going to do.
Absolutely, and if you look here in a couple of seconds, they're gonna start running in a much more technical terrain, getting a little bit out of the city, and that's gonna be quite tricky, especially when you look at them and the long strides that they have now. They're going really fast. They're going to have to slow down on those rocks, and we might actually see a different kind of runners taking the lead with a bit more of a technical approach. You're going to have to be careful because an ankle sprain is quick to fall upon you.
Let's talk about some of the athletes we have here today. We're watching the men, so we'll start with them. We have a strong Dutch contingent joining us. Stijn Legrand from the Netherlands, Jesse Tahir and Frank Oostrom. We're expecting a couple of those to be pretty good on the swims.
Especially Frank is an expert in water polo, so he's a very strong swimmer. I could see him swim much faster than most of his competitors, especially for that last swim, which is the longest and really close to the finish line. So if Frank is not too far from the lead at the beginning of that swim, we can actually see some overtaking happening in the water.
We also have, joining us from the USA, Sean Roberts. Now, he's an incredible runner. We did ask him this morning, what's your swimming like? And his answer was, well, wait and find out. We know he's a very good runner. He was the 2023 Savage Pro Race Series champion, and he's looking to take that title again for 2024. But we've no idea what he is like in the water. We've only ever seen him do very, very short water crossings at Savage. So like we say, that's probably going to be the big changer here, isn't it, that swim?
Definitely, Sean is not lacking speed and is not lacking confidence either. When asked about the competition here, he said that basically there was nobody faster than him, so he wasn't too worried about his competition.
We love the confidence. We also have Richard Hynek. He has a very strong CV of championship races under his belt. Spartan Trifecta World Champion 19 and 2022. Spartan European Champion 22 and 23. Pavel Hrdina from the Czech Republic, another American joining us, Ethan Brown.
Here we are with that more technical ground I was talking about. They're outside of the residential area now, and they're getting in a more rocky path. This bit is actually fine, but some of those yards are not going to be the easiest to navigate.
I think something that's great about this race, this is the first time that we're racing. Spartan went out on the course yesterday with the rabbits and got to experience what we're going to see today. So I'm very interested to hear his feedback on what's going to be happening.
Yeah, absolutely. That course, like we mentioned already, is very interesting. More suited towards the runner, especially on that first part, getting to town, and then we end up with a lot of obstacle heavy and a very long swim that might change a lot of the rankings towards the end. Who do we see? They're getting to the inverted wall and then the Hercules hoist that they need to get all the way up and all the way down without letting it go, obviously.
There's Gregory Basilico.
And I think a couple of the Dutch guys that were running at the front.
We saw Sean at the beginning running with the
Frank.
front pack, but we've not had him on camera since. It'll be interesting to see if he manages to catch up.
Absolutely. We see Frank here, who's the best swimmer that we mentioned, Frank Ostrom. And he was already in the lead after the first swim, which was really short. So again, let's watch him. If he managed to stay in the top 3 before the last swim, he can definitely make a move. There's Gregory, I think, as well in the top 3. And is it Station that we saw with him?
Stin Legrand.
It's possible. We try to identify them with their shirt usually, but it's a bit
They're
tricky.
all wearing black shorts.
Exactly, black shorts, no t-shirts, especially with the swim. Nobody wants to be running and with a heavy, wet t-shirt.
Now, it's easy to forget when you hear that it's kind of mid-October. I know back home the weather is almost frozen. It is hot here. It's only 8 in the morning and it's so warm and gorgeous. I was saying yesterday, I was like, it's good to know that there's a place at this time of year that you can come to that's still going to have really good sun, that's very, very close to get to. It has been such a treat to be here on the island of Hvar. Really. We've had a trifecta weekend, which is absolutely gorgeous, with the Super to go this afternoon, and we had the 100-meter World Championships yesterday, which was hosted right in the village, with lots of unsuspecting spectators who are here on their holidays who absolutely loved it. It was electric.
Yeah, it's a big holiday town here in Europe, so people were not expecting that race here happening for the first time. But it is an absolute gorgeous scene for the Spartan race and for Trifecta Week. Here we see the runners completing the Z-wall and then heading to the sandbag carry, the sandbags that are around 30 kilos, about 60 pounds. And as you can see, they're getting down on a very technical terrain. Yeah. And that's the kind of place where you can see the second runner here trying to make up a couple of meters strides that oh, here you can see we almost had a sprained ankle there. It's a very technical
This
run.
is not the place to be overtaking, is it?
Well, you can, that's the thing, and that's what's difficult for those runners. On a race so short, any opportunity must be taken to try to overtake somebody and make up a few seconds. The problem is here it's high risk, high reward. So we may try to see somebody make an attempt to pass and save a few seconds, but they might also regret it. So
And they're powering through this course already. We know it's a sprint course. It's not the longest course in the world. It is the shortest of the trifecta. But these guys are powering through it. We have some of the very best here today. This is a really intense competition. As we were making our list of athletes to watch, it just didn't stop. We kept adding more and more names, and we were sitting together last night and there's no way to call this. There's no way to say who could. As we say, it's probably the swim that's going to make it. And for that reason, we'd be looking for the men.
we see somebody like Gregory Basilico, who we know is a fantastic runner, who will have to make a bit of a gap before getting to the last swim and the last obstacles if we want to.
How long is this swim we're talking about?
I think it might be about 300 meters, something like this.
Okay, so it's not the longest swim, but it is in the ocean.
It's exactly about 300, maybe 400. So I don't think it's much more than that. But the thing is, the bodies and the minds are going to be tired by then, right? They're going to be towards the end of the course, and that's where the very efficient swimmer are going to be able to pass that without any problem. Whereas the one that struggle a bit more are going to lose even more time on a swim if they get there a bit tired. So who do we see at the front here?
That at the front is Justin Legrand from the Netherlands, followed by Gregory Basilico. You can always tell by his arm sleeves.
Absolutely.
And the much more slighted body. There we go. He's trying for an overtake. Just
getting to the spear throw now.
Getting elbowed.
All right, getting to the spear. You see those buckets here for the penalty loops. Those guys should be able to avoid the penalty loops, which is one of the most beautiful in the whole circuit, here in the castle overlooking the town of Hvar. Let's see.
I think this is the most hated obstacle of every athlete.
That's it.
Justin got it. Can Gregory get it?
Taking a lot of time.
Worth it.
Got it. Nice.
When Gregory's racing, he is always one to watch.
Absolutely, and that was quite interesting to see. Some people tend to rush a little bit on an obstacle like this. You need to take your time. He lost maybe...
Elle est où l'issue?
Incredible.
Il passe pas là? Ah, il saute là. Ok.
We do have the women's race as well today. We've had a few technical problems this morning, so everything will get back on track. Both races will be covered.
Let me tell you who's not having technical problems right now. It's Stijn in the lead. Is pretty incredible. On a very rolling part of the course, now they're going down. It's going to be fast from here. They've done most of the uphill, so now they're going down to the town for the last few obstacles and the bucket carry, and then the last big swim. It's going to make a difference.
It's all about this big swim. So you were saying about the bucket carry. It's not the worst, but it's not the best.
Yeah, it's a little bit long. The idea is that it's going to tire the body even more before the last swim. So I think that's the position of the bucket carry within the course that makes it interesting.
So something we mentioned yesterday when we were talking about the 100 meters is this is a Thomas Blanc course, and he is renowned in Europe as a race director for creating very tough courses. Even with a sprint, he manages to put together very, very testing routes. We can see him running alongside the athletes with them. He's an athlete himself.
And a pretty fast one at that.
A very fast one at that.
That's why he knows how those people are feeling right in the course. He knows what exactly he can make for a very interesting and suspenseful race.
I mean, I slightly feel for the cameramen as well here, because you can see they're struggling with their angles to keep up. We don't often see this kind of movement on a course, such fast turns. And again, you can see the underfoot.
Yeah. You can see
it's not what we're used to, is it?
Absolutely. They're not taking every steps on those stairs for sure. And those rocks with the thousands or millions of tourists every day, they are very, very slippery indeed. This is an actual maze.
Yes.
We were there yesterday. Not all the course markings were there. We obviously didn't have the marshals and volunteers here on the course, and it was not easy to find your way across the town.
Here they are, they're coming into the square. This is where we had the 100-meter course yesterday, which you can still see the A-frame just kind of capping the beginning of the 100-meter course. That course was absolutely incredible.
That's going to be a nice way for him to know that he has a few seconds lead, let's say, on the... Oh, but let's look at the technique yesterday. Behind, I think it's Gregory who's much faster on the A-frame.
Sorry, this is a race.
Oh.
He's probably passing a couple of tourists, having to apologize that he is in the middle of racing. The last few steps uphill. There's a bit of a climb here, and then it's going to go down to the bucket carry.
I have been wearing my zone all weekend because there's so much walking around the town, and it's so hilly that I'm collecting my my points so well, and I can picture how tough those stairs are right now for these guys. Again, as we said, that they're very old steps. They're uneven. They're worn. We know they're used to running on mountains. That's one thing, but it's that combination of regular and irregular. to be careful of.
Absolutely. They're probably entering the last mile of the course now. Still in the lead, but as we've seen on the A-frame, there's only, what, maybe a couple seconds lead?
Yeah.
Maybe 5-6 seconds lead over Gregory Basilico, so this race is still way open.
There we go, a recap of the race so far. At the beginning there, we saw Sean Roberts having a good head lead. There's Ethan Brown with another US athlete, but it has come down to the Europeans so far.
The first three runners were together at the Achilles Hoist, and it's Dijon and Gregory Basilico who got out and are battling out in front right now. They should be arriving to the bucket carry fairly soon.
Two very different athletes physically in terms of their appearance. Stin has that classic Dutch height, and Gregory's a lot more compact, but it's not impacting either of them. They've both got the same amount of power and strength here.
Absolutely. Where do we are here? Yeah, we're getting to the... So we have Gregory Basilico here. Is he in the lead or still in second place? We don't see anybody just ahead. But they're going so fast that even if it's a 5 or 6 seconds gap, it might be a few strides away. Okay, especially if there's a turn. They're getting down by the water. So you'll see that's the swim where they will be coming back after. They're turning left for the bucket carry, and then they will be back here for the swim in that lane that you see here. Yeah, the water is not too shabby looking.
It's not too shabby. It's absolutely gorgeous. Do you know what? I saw so many videos and clips from the team when they were here preparing for this race. They've been here a lot, making sure they get this race right. And even from everything that I saw, I don't think I could picture how gorgeous it was in real life. And you know, we've been to different locations. We've seen beautiful water, but I mean, there's something really stunning.
Yeah.
It's the blue and the clarity. I cannot wait. I really hope once I finish work I have enough time to get in there, because I'm desperate to get into the ocean. It is so gorgeous here.
Before you get to Croatia and a place like this, you're looking at it and thinking, wow, that looks like heaven. Then you get here and you go, oh, it is.
And what's something else I love about these race weekends, especially these big trifecta weekends, and with this team, is they put on such a spectacle. And we had Friday night, we had Nations Parade, we had awards ceremony last night. Really, really fun things happening. This morning I woke up, I panicked. I looked at my watch, I was like, the races have started. I could hear the noise from the town, and I thought the races have started and I've missed work. I haven't. Everyone was still partying. They were still going, and they are having
Saturday
a lot of fun.
For sure.
Get out of the way.
Oh, wow, yeah, it's not in the perfect location.
I mean, that's the problem with having a race in a place like this. It's just another obstacle. These athletes are used to having to run round, up, over, under, and through things. Tourists, residents.
And that's fine. It's still pretty early on. In a couple hours, it's going to be terrible. For the beast runners yesterday, it was a bit tricky. They got there around lunchtime. It was not easy to navigate. All right. Station's about to finish the swim.
The bucket carry.
The bucket carry. Okay, how far? That's pretty close to each other. Yeah, you can see him. If you see on Gregory's screen on the right, you can see that Stephen is just like here.
Oh,
that's another obstacle as well for the
referee in the way.
The referee, yeah.
Here we go. Prepared with goggles. This is serious. This is still going to be chilly though. We are in October. This is early in the morning.
We're looking at what, maybe not even 10 seconds. Look at that.
Oh
It's
no,
3
seconds, 3,
seconds.
2.
First 2. Do we have anybody just nearby?
So they do have the rope to pull themselves along if they don't want to do a full swim. But if you're a good swimmer, this is where you can make up time.
Well, with the rope, yeah, it's definitely look at them, and we see being next to each other. They're trying to use the lane on the right rather than on the left, which is a little bit longer.
That's just so beautiful. So currently we're seeing a race of 2.
Yeah, it looks like it. I don't know how far the third place is. If it was still a strong swimmer, it could have made up some ground, but it seems like it's really going to be between those two now, because after this is only a couple 100 meters with 3 or 4 fairly easy obstacles.
But we could be seeing a battle for third place, who knows?
C'est just derrière, ouais. Non, c'est Stinch, non? Le blond, c'est Stinch Lagrand. Stinch Lagrand. Normalement, le blond, c'est lui.
They're a bit more than halfway through that swim. Yeah, they're getting to the finish soon. There's a net, cargo net to get out of it.
What's the terrain like after this? Because, I mean, I know from walking around in just regular trainers, when the cobbles get wet, it's pretty slippy. You know, it feels reasonably unsafe. These guys are going to be moving really fast and they're going to be wearing trail shoes. What are we looking at underfoot here?
That should be fine. They're next to the port now, so it's going to be pretty flat. It could be a bit slippery, but that's all right with the speed and the stability. There's no turn. It's going to be pretty much a straight line outside of the water with a rope climb and a couple of rolls. They should be all right. But it's going to be a sprint finish for sure.
Oh, it's going to be a sprint finish. We have seen lately so many photo finishes at races. We've seen so many athletes crossing the line at exactly the same time.
Yeah.
Is that going to be it today? Here we go. It looks like we're going to be getting a battle for third place. Wow. Is this David Labrosse we're seeing in the back of?
Could absolutely be, yeah.
Three athletes, is it 3 or 2 athletes very close together?
I think there were 3, yeah.
Battling for the third place. So this could also be a very close finish.
We expected the runners in about 40-45 minutes to the finish line. I think that's what we're looking at.
And let's not forget, this is a big World Championship weekend. There is prize money on the line. First place for male and female is $10,000. Second place is $5,000, and third is $2,500. So it's absolutely worth that battle, not just for the medal and for the glory, but for the payday.
Exactly. I think those two are sure to leave the island with a nice check. They're gonna have to figure out which is which. But then the third place is gonna be divided for the 3 runners. That's gonna be interesting.
Straight from the water to a rope climb. Nice leap there from Basilico. It took him a while to get out of that water. Anything he made up on the swim, he slightly lost there.
Multi-rig after that. Can he make up that? That's a place where you can make up a few seconds. Not 30, but 5, and that's what he needs.
He's taking his time.
They're going to be really tired. That's what you need to understand, is after getting up a long swim like this, you'd like to take a break, go for a shower, but not right now. They still have a couple minutes to.
I mean, I know whenever I'm in that cold water, and I think we spoke about that in Morzine, it kind of numbs the muscles a bit.
Absolutely.
And then when you're going straight into a rope climb and to a rig.
The good thing is, with the speed that they have and the intensity, they're creating so much heat that the cold shouldn't be a problem here.
Interestingly, these guys are swimming. They're full-on proper swimming. Basilico, interesting, did not do that. They pulled themselves along the rope, and these guys are battling it out with the swim.
Did Gregory pass? Did he manage to overtake him? I don't even know. We didn't have the picture for a second. Oh, it looked to be behind. And now we're looking. Okay. The final vertical net. No, that's still.
No, Shin followed by Gregory, just
Yeah,
he's
here you go.
seconds behind, but he is second.
Celebrating, jumping over the fire, and we have our sprint world champion for 2024.
That is Stijn Legrand from the Netherlands.
Beautiful. This is our champion, Gregory Bazilico, coming in second place.
Incredible athletes. Well deserved by both of them. Gregory is not somebody to be taken lightly. He's an incredible athlete. We have Matt B. Davis there on the finish line. I'm sure we'll be getting some interviews with them as soon as they are ready. And now it's a battle for third place with 4 athletes battling it out.
Who's out first? Oh, that's Frank.
Frank Oostrom,
exactly,
from the
strongest
Netherlands.
swimmer that we mentioned, and he might have got a bit of a lead on the swim, enough to secure third place. We're gonna see. That's gonna be.
I wanted to say that was potentially Richard Hynek following him.
Keep pushing, keep pushing. Go, guys, go, 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 go!
So that's Frank Ostrom in 4th now. Who's in 3rd place? We didn't get to see exactly who's in 3rd place.
I want to say that's Richard Hynek.
Again.
That's the call I'm making.
That would be incredible, because he just got out of a serious injury that should have taken months to recover. And if he's already back and not only competing, but actually getting 3rd place, oh, that could be very bad. Is he okay? We lost the picture.
Listen, I'm very often wrong, so it very well could not be, but to me that's who it looks like.
Oh, no, oh gosh, look at this sprint.
Or Pavel.
I could be. Look at this sprint.
Oh my gosh.
Definitely a sprint. Oh, Frank just overpassed him. Oh my God, what a finish. Wow. Incredible finish. We know it's Frank Ostrom in 3rd place. Wow.
It was Richard Hynek.
Exactly. Unbelievable.
I was questioning myself there. We have our top 10 finishing on the Sprint World Championships here in Hvar. In 1st place from the Netherlands, Stijn Legrand. 2nd place from France, Gregory Bazilico. 3rd place, another Dutch athlete in Frank Oostrom. But it was a close finish with Richard Hynek and an incredible battle. Richard Hynek has had these battles before. He had this at the European Champs going head-to-head. I think that time he did take it, but this one, he really slipped on that final net and just slowed himself down just a little bit. This race with the men was something we were just not able to call before the race. There were so many incredible athletes. We've not even mentioned half of them yet. There is Manuel Defoe, an incredible Swiss athlete who always runs so strong, but in this field, it was anyone's game.
And when you see a runner like him barely making it to the top 10, you know that
it was a competition.
Yeah. That was incredible. You can see, I mean, of course, Richard knows how to go down a flight of stairs, right? That's not the problem of just at this kind of intensity, it's so hard. They have to take risks. He was trying to finish just a mere second or a fraction of a second ahead of Frank, so he had to take risk, and he ended up losing his 3rd place.
I'm going to read out the top 10 and listen to these names. Stijn Legrand, Gregory Bazilico, Frank Oostrom, Richard Hynek, Peter Saniga, Jesse De Heer, David Lamos, Manuel Defoe, Petra Dornac, Goncalo Prudencio. That's your top 10.
keeping in mind that between 5th and 10th place, you have 32 seconds only.
That is your top 10. That is an incredible field of athletes.
You see Richard getting checked by the medic. Again, he was pretty seriously injured up until a few months ago. Coming back with a strong showing like this is quite incredible. That's why we got scared a bit on the stairs at the end.
We do have Matt B. Davis down on the finish line. Anytime he's ready to give us an interview, we are happy to pass on over.
The runners keep coming in just a couple minutes behind the top 10. We're still having really, really strong runners coming in now.
Look at all these athletes on the finish line. Any one of them could have won today.
Okay, ready? Great here. Ready? 3, 2,
Thibaut, putain. Je sais pas. Thibaut pour Benjamin. Thibaut pour Benjamin.
Once again, your top 3 men right here, right now. Steve Lagrange with a 49.48.
C'est quoi toi? Essayez de choper,
Stein FISO world champion, European champion, and now Spartan 5K world champion. How did you outlast that guy?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know. I think on the top of the fortress, we had an amazing battle until the fortress, really back and forth. And yeah, after the spear throw, I managed to pull away a little bit and yeah, kept increasing the lead on the descent. I think on the bucket carry and the final swim, Gregor managed to get so close. He was getting on my nerves. At the last obstacles, I did it a little bit faster. But yeah, all the race I kept thinking, come on, you know, it's such a strange, dangerous finish that so much can happen with the swim and the bucket carry. So it was nerve-wracking, to be honest. Front all town, beautiful, but yeah, you cannot see more than 10 meters behind you. I didn't try to look behind, but you don't know if someone is 20 seconds or 3 seconds behind you. So,
tell me what it was like once you got in the water, because you probably never have had a finish like this in an obstacle race where you had to swim for your life, basically.
Yeah, no, that was really crazy, to be honest. Pulling on the rope and swimming, you're losing your breath all through the water. And I'm quite a good obstacle maker. So normally these plastic rigs wouldn't be a problem. Getting out of the water, your legs. So the rope climb and the multi-rig, they were actually really hard now because you're in a strange way already fatigued from the swim. It was like an endurance effort rather than an explosive effort. It was victory, so no, it really wasn't over till the finish.
What it was like to watch your buddy Frank with that finish with Heineck.
Because I finally had my breath again, that was almost more exciting than my own finish, to be honest. I think the people in the live stream saw it, that we were standing here. Frank was catching up really quick, but yeah, I think 1 meter before the finish, their gap was there. Until then, they were right behind, next to each other. So it was really, yeah, Frank is an amazing friend, so it's super good to get that nice result.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Matt. As he said, that was more of an endurance effort at the end rather.
With his great friend Frank, who managed to overtake Richard in the last few meters. That was that, and it's great to see again those runners obviously being.
We have a female race coming up soon. We also have some incredible female athletes running today. We have Esther Portobayova. She is.
La régie, est-ce que vous me recevez?
Amazing battle there. Tell me what it's like to finish an obstacle race with a swim.
Non. Comme celle-ci, à la fin, avec autant de natation. On peut dire, avant de venir, je ne pensais pas qu'il y avait autant de natation. Du coup, on a dû faire comme tout le monde, on a dû s'adapter. Et puis voilà, la course est la même pour tout le monde. So, before coming here, I don't know that there's too much sensation, the swimming part. So now I have to adapt my rate to have a good shape and be the best as I can.
Have you raced these Dutch guys before?
I don't know.
If he's raced these Dutch OCR athletes before.
Ah, est-ce que tu avais déjà couru contre les Allemands avant? Oui, j'avais déjà couru à Amsterdam à Zandvoort. Pas d'athlètes. Vraiment là, ils ont pris vraiment un niveau bien au-dessus de ce qu'ils étaient. Parce que moi, entre-temps, j'ai aussi évolué. Mais eux, ils ont vraiment beaucoup évolué aussi. Les Néerlandais, ils sont très forts. Oh, okay. So Dutch and Holland guys are really strong and fast. I only raced one time against us, and now I'm really pleased to battle against.
Won the Trifecta World Championship, correct? And you're at the championship, right? So can I ask him what's left this year?
Un titre européen, un titre mondial, et maintenant, voilà, c'est quoi la suite? Deuxième à Abu Dhabi. La deuxième, le but c'est de faire, d'aller chercher, de conserver mon titre à la fin. Éventuellement, peut-être d'aller aussi à Abu Dhabi chercher le meilleur résultat. Moi, je suis un ogre. Tout manger. I'm a really great competitor, so I want to win Trifecta World Championship and win Abu Dhabi. I don't win Abu Dhabi last year, so now I have to win.
Wants to beat Atkins?
What?
Wants to beat Atkins.
Yeah. Moi, j'adore quand il y a beaucoup de concurrence et c'est là où je me régale le plus. I love when there are all top athletes in race. The race are beautiful when top athletes are here, and I want to battle.
Merci.
And we had an interview of Greg Basilico's second place in French. He was saying that he was not aware there would be that much swimming involved in the race before coming here. So, but it was okay. He had to adapt. That's what they love with obstacle racing in general and Spartan specifically. You never know what's going to happen in the race, and you're going to have to adapt. So he was pretty happy, pretty impressed as well by the Dutch runners. And especially with the winner, the only one he couldn't beat today. He said that since the last and only time that they raced together, they really improved quite a bit because he felt like he improved, but those guys are just improving even faster. He's not getting any slower, Gregory, but those guys are really strong. So, as he mentioned, also at the end, talking about his season next year, he's looking really for the greatest competition. He's not looking for just an easy win. He wants to go where the best runners are, and I think he got served today.
All right, third place, Frank Osterom. Let's just talk about that finish. The two came over the A-frame. You were behind him, correct?
I saw him falling down, and I thought, okay, it's open for him. But he didn't open. Keep on swim. So I thought, yeah, I just want to give it my all. And I went before that wall and then sprint, and I think I had the last meter.
Have you ever had an obstacle race after 6K that close?
No, not that close. No. it was really cool to battle it like almost at the end of the finish line. That was really cool.
Well, you know, your buddies over there, yes, Stein, they went up this year. So how does it feel to get back on the podium with those guys?
It's really also last month, better, and it's getting closer as well. So now it feels really good to stand on the podium as well.
So you're not just the other OCR guy now.
The three of us.
So tell me what you got going on the rest of the year.
The rest of the year, yeah, I next week I'm going to Dubai with
Dubai World Obstacle.
Maybe Dubai World Obstacle, but next week there is the Arabian Warrior race going on there as well, together with Stein and Jesse. And I hope to go to the Dubai race, the Dubai World Obstacle.
Congratulations, man! Great job.
So here we are in the women's start. Something that I noticed whilst you were talking, we were looking at that top 10. That was a European top 10. We have other nations here. We have America here. It was, in fact, a continental European top 10.
Yeah, I think
it was a big competition with foreign athletes, and yet it was taken. And I think that's a really interesting thing, and it shows the kind of competition and the way the sport is progressing here in Europe, which sometimes gets overlooked. There are some incredible athletes here, and the sport is really, really pushing forward. And I highly encourage anyone from the States, from Mexico, Canada, to come over and to try these races and to try against these athletes. But, however, let's now focus on the women. We are very fortunate today to be able to have a male and a female race divided so we can have full attention on both.
And we're seeing the top runners being called
forward.
To the
Esther Hortabayeva. I could read out her CV to you, but it would take a very long time. She is, like I was saying in my mind, her and Nicole Miracle, they're kind of always... Esther is the one to beat. Nicole is the second one to beat here. Yeah, possibly running on a little bit of jet lag and recovering from the altitude. It's a very, very different situation. There she is with her swim goggles, ready to go.
Does she plan on running the whole course with the goggles?
Esther standing just behind her. We've also got Susanna Kokromova here today, Klara Lokajikova, Sara Backstrom from Sweden, Signe Caroline Kolster from Norway, Henriette Bardrum, Helena Schuster, Rosetta Khadija, and Andrea Azquin. From the UK, we've also got Libby Joyce, Becky Neal, and Federica De Caria. It's a pretty wide group. It's not as deep as the men's. We're used to seeing that in the women's race, but that's still going to be... We also have, who wasn't on our list until last night, Yvonne Zhu. We just saw there. She was at Morzine. She raced an incredible race.
Absolutely.
In Morzine.
Not exactly the same scenery.
It's not the same scenery, but she's traveled a long way to be here, and it's good to see an international field.
Absolutely. And that's what's amazing, right? With the circuit, you can end up in Morzine and a couple months later being here in Croatia with this kind of water.
Check.
We are sick.
Okay. All right, we're here at the start line. As you heard, some of the best women in the world are here. You know, with the semi-retirement of Lindsay Exeter, Nicole really is the conversation for greatest of all time. She's got to face Esther today. She's got to face a whole lot of very tough women. This race will probably be as exciting as the men's, so we're extremely excited.
Please be aware, don't risk everything, okay?
I love how he says that this race will probably be as exciting as the men's. It absolutely will be as exciting as the men's. The men's field was very deep and we couldn't call, but you only need a couple of people for the competition. And here we have some really incredible athletes. There are not many female athletes who are not here currently. Injuries, other things, taking them out of racing currently. but those who are capable of racing right now in this in the female field, majority of them are here.
They're here and they're hungry.
If you don't take the swimming section, you will be transferred to the open and you have to do 90 burpees. 90 burpees. I know, Jamal didn't tell you that yesterday. I know. 90 burpees for penalty. So maybe...
Pre-race briefing, at this point they're barely listening. All they want to go is to
just want to
get
go,
going.
go.
You can see them on the ground.
Ladies, you've all been trained for.
Now Esther's very good. I call her the engine that could. She's very small, she's very slight, and she just powers on. She keeps going, she keeps going, she keeps going. She's very good at the longer races. She has that there's just something that she can unlock inside that just keeps her pushing forwards. She has a very distinctive running style, and she just keeps going. It'll be interesting to see whether she can unlock the kind of the highest speed today on this very mixed course.
Yeah, as we've seen, it's a sprint, but the distance of the carry, for example, is not included in the initial distance of the race. So it's actually getting a bit longer than 5K. We're looking more at 7 or 8K. We saw the best guys finishing in just over 40 minutes.
38 minutes.
So we can look at about 50 minutes probably for the...
Yeah, just under 40 minutes, just under, and then just over. So around 40 minutes. So yeah, for the women.
So it's compared to the 100 meters that we had yesterday, where we counted that in seconds. Endurance is definitely going to be important today.
See, it's an endurance sprint course.
Yeah.
I think that's the worst of all worlds.
Pretty much.
They're earning their paycheck today, aren't they?
Quite significant paychecks of $10,000, $5,000, and $2,500 for those top three. And we're off. There we go.
Starting off strong there. We can see Clara in the front with Susanna next to her. So it's not a bad women's field.
No, not at all.
There's a good amount of females there. And Nicole, I love how she runs.
Oh,
so I was there last weekend in Mammoth Lakes. We were in a car and we could barely keep up with her in a car. She was moving so fast. I ran alongside her probably for 20 seconds at a time, and it was hard work.
What we're seeing here, she is dropping them. This is incredible. And it's going to be flat like this for 1 or 2 kilometers to start with the small swim in the middle. But she is dropping them. That is incredible.
Knowing the competency of these athletes, my usual comment would be, can she keep this up? Has she gone off too fast? Having seen her last weekend, she started off fast, she carried on going. At no point did she slow down. She moved through the obstacles with ease, beautifully. Like I say, I ran for minutes at a time and I couldn't keep up. I'm not an athlete, but she was so fast. And at the end, she was cool and calm and collected. She's had a few years off. She had a really serious knee injury. She had operations to fix it, and she really took her time. And I have commended her time and time again, and I will continue to do so. She took her time to come back from injury. So far, it's paid off. My only concern is, has she recovered enough from last weekend, from the high altitude? I know she lives at altitude, but so far, she's gone off the pace.
Yeah, and we can be scared about people going out too fast when they're a bit younger and inexperienced. That's definitely not the case for Nicole.
She is not inexperienced.
She knows what she's doing. If she's going out at that pace, she knows she can hold that pace for up to an hour if needed. And something tells me it's going to be less than that.
So we've got the 3 swims today, 80 meters, 100 meters, and then almost 200 meters on the last one. They're just hitting the first swim today. There's 80 meters. We're seeing a frozen picture. We're hoping you're getting a fully formed picture at home. There we go. We've got that back.
That third swim, only 200 meters, is surprising because it really looks like
It looks a lot longer.
It's longer, yeah, and it feels a little longer for anybody swimming it, especially
Did
at
you
the
do
end
it
of a race like
yesterday?
this. No, I walked next to people swimming in the Beast, and I was
There's Susanna,
rooting for them.
followed by Clara. Making a mix of use of the rope
That's
and
interesting.
swimming.
And I think we have Nicole in the front with
Way
a
ahead.
breaststroke.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting.
You see some of the beautiful... This is a gorgeous holiday resort. It's nice to see some of the ways in which you can enjoy being here other than racing. I'm starting to wish that I'd taken a few extra days to stay here.
You bet. Yeah, that mix of swimming and pulling on the rope is obviously the most efficient.
Nicole had a very good lead in the run. She seems to have lost a small amount of that lead here, just a small. It's not the longest swim. I wonder whether that's going to change things by the end or if she's going to get enough of a lead.
I mean, she lost a little bit of distance, but time-wise, it's the same. 10 meters in the water is equivalent to 50 or 100. And look at how fast she can pick up as soon as she's out of the water. So what you can see when she's going out that strong is that she knows where her strengths are. She didn't try to swim too fast. She didn't lose too much energy. She was, okay, waiting for her time. I'm pretty sure she was even thinking, hey, if I'm getting past in the water, no big deal. Out of it, I'm going to be going all out immediately.
This is the great thing about these experienced athletes, which actually a lot of them here today are very, very experienced. They know themselves, is that they know the places where they can push and they know the places where to not waste energy. The energy used proportionally will be so much more on something they're not as skilled as. It's a good point.
Exactly. Looking at the stride that she had compared to second place behind is really quite different.
And let's not forget, whilst she was taking time off to recover on her knee, she got into ice climbing. And she was competing at a pretty high level there, and that absolutely worked on her grip strength, even more than she already did. So although she had a really unfortunate circumstance with a severe injury, she made the most of it to come back as a stronger athlete. And she's strong.
Look at that pace. And it looks flat, but again, I've been on that course. It's not flat. There's a couple of percent uphill on that.
I mean, it looks like more than a couple of percent there. You can see there is an incline. We're only 5 minutes into this women's race already, and we're seeing big gaps.
First two women should be arriving to the log carry fairly soon.
I mean, that's almost a sprint.
Yeah, that pace is incredible.
What I absolutely love is at the end of the races, looking at the combined results, and when you have these really strong female athletes, seeing how they placed in the overall top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, for the men, I was just looking at the results, and I was thinking, we spoke about Sean Roberts at the start, but we didn't see him. He finished 34th. I thought something must have gone wrong. He finished 34th. That was a 9-minute gap, though, which I know on a sprint is quite considerable, but not huge. So the men were really, really close together, as you commented. But I would love to see how she ends up performing. She's left the field behind.
Yeah, that's already a commanding lead. Almost a minute probably at the log carry. We'll have the splits whenever the first few runners are there. And she's going down with the log. Okay, yeah, that's a bit less than a minute, probably 30, 40 seconds. And then the rest of the field is right behind.
I mean, I may be getting ahead of myself here. She's partway through the log carrier. We're 7 minutes, 15 seconds into the race. Chin Legrand completed the log carrier 8 minutes, 15 seconds.
That log carry is pretty long, though, and especially we have the swim.
This is the still swim.
And then
here we see overtaking. I want to say... I was going to say that was Signe by the height. I can't see her face.
There's a log just
There's a
in front
log
of her
right
face.
in the
It's
face.
kind of...
It's helpful. Nicole, I will recognize from any angle.
Two things. We can either ask the rabbit to go on the other side, or we can ask the runners to put the log on the other side.
Or we could let them get on with their race.
All right.
And realize what we're saying is not as important as them.
Look at this view. You can barely feel there's a log on your shoulder when you're running in a place like this. And look at the pace. They're barely slowing down. Something to keep in mind that we didn't mention before is that the log is pretty dry at the beginning. That's fine. The minute you get in the water, when you get out of it, it suddenly looks like the log got heavier, right?
Well, also, there's a good chance. I don't know if the women are carrying different logs than the men.
They are, yeah.
They are,
slightly different logs.
Because at this point, they would be wet. I mean, the logs are going to have buoyancy, but it's still something you have to move through the water.
In the water, it actually helps, although it doesn't make you faster, but it is a bit.
It's not dragging you down. It's not a bucket.
Yeah, but it's when you get out of it that you got some extra weight from that water. Great thing. She's right. She's taking her time here. No need to go.
No, she's not.
Look at this water.
I've got to get in there today. Well, there's a lot of people here supporting. It was actually a really easy journey to get here, even from my airport, which there was no direct flight, but I had to drive a little bit straight to Split. And then the ferry was an hour, which was it was lovely. It was a really enjoyable journey. I never would have thought of coming here prior to this. It probably would have felt too much. A lot of people here that are really enjoying being here and supporting. Yesterday we had the 100 meters going through the town. You could sit in the cafes and the bars and have a drink and watch what was going on.
That's interesting to see here. They only... about 30, 40 seconds behind probably, but what's good for the other runners is that they can actually see Nicole here in the water. So they know 50 meters in the water is still pretty big, but at least they can see her. There's nothing worse when you're chasing somebody than to never see the person you're chasing.
So Nicole came to the end where the rope was, jumped in, and is using the rope to pull herself. But other athletes have just gone, nope, I'm getting straight in that water, and I'm swimming. And there's going to come a point where they're going to be able to walk quite soon as well.
If we're looking at the second runners, I don't know exactly where the log is, because she seems to be...
Between her feet, potentially?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Or under her stomach?
Pretty smart.
Well, she's now going sideways to the rope. I think she's realised this was not the right call for me, and she's losing time doing that.
Better to lose a bit of time than to lose energy, because there's still... On that last swim, you need to go all out, but this is only the second one. It's only the beginning of the race, so it's good to kind of go
This doesn't look like a Spartan race. This looks like a tourism advert.
If we had some data on their heart rate right now, it would look like a Spartan race for sure. All right.
It's nice for the athletes, like you say, to be able to see Nicole, because there are points pretty soon where once they lose visibility of her, until it comes to the last swim, they're going to struggle to ever see sight of her again.
Yeah, because the course is going up and down in the village, and you don't have a long horizon ahead of you. All right, she's getting out. She got to be careful here to not go too fast on that steep climb out of the water.
I mean, you can see the steps. They're
still
green
fine.
with algae. They're going to be getting pretty slick.
She had a quick look back on the women chasing her, and she knows she has at least the 30 seconds.
She always knows what's going on. A lot of athletes say, oh, there wasn't time to look behind. I focus on my own race. I worry about what I'm doing. But Nicole's always aware of what's going on. She will check behind. She'll still run her own race, but she wants to win, and she'll know how much she needs to push.
Look at that. That's she is in the very steep part. We don't see on the video, but it is pretty steep. Especially it got a bit muddy with all the men's running there before. Look at those steps.
Oui, oui.
Entendu.
It looks to be Susanna behind her. We'll have the confirmation.
The only eyes we've definitely had on Nicole, we're saying it's Susanna next, and after that we couldn't call anyone.
We'll have the splits at the end of the log carry that will allow us to confirm that for sure. And here she goes downhill now.
Okay, this is a super long log carry.
Yeah.
Shout out to the rabbits. So the rabbits we have today are proper pro athletes, aren't they? You've been spending some time with them. And they've just run already once with the men, and now they're running again with the women. Not only do they have to run on this terrain, but they also have to get the camera angles, which is not easy.
Exactly.
It's really not easy.
That's where we were yesterday on the course, trying to know the best angles, where to see the runners, and more importantly, where to alternate. There are 3 of them out there on the course, and they need to be able to go and have some rest a little bit. And by rest, I'm not saying that they're laying down on a
so that's Nicole Miracle through the log carry, followed by Susanna Kokomova. Susanna coming through just 14 seconds behind Nicole.
That means she made up some ground definitely on that swim and that log carry overall.
Followed by Elsa Riepstra from the Netherlands, another Dutch athlete, and Klara Lukajakova from the Czech Republic. Helena Schuster after. Helena Schuster placed 2nd place at the FISO 3K Championships this year. Klara, 4th place at the 2023 Trifecta World Champs. She's had a lot of 2nd and 3rd places. She's got a good chance to podium today by her performance so far, potentially. But there are some incredible athletes out there.
Look at the incline here, and look at the pace that Nicole is running at.
She's incredible.
Susanna is pretty strong. It's interesting because it looks like on the flat and maybe uphill, Nicole is pulling away a little bit, but with the carry and the swim, Susanna was able to make up a bit of ground. And we know that
Susanna's a very strong athlete.
And the end of the course is made up what? Yes. A long carry and a long swim.
We are not seeing anything from Esther yet. Today has been a race that, you know, with the men, there were so many incredible athletes. It was hard to, you kind of almost got to pick your favorites from what you're feeling in the morning. For the women, you know, at the beginning I said Nicole Miracle and Esther are always the ones to beat.
Very simple.
Nicole is proving that right now.
Susanna was obviously one of the first names that we mentioned as well. Then Elsa is a bit of more of a surprise maybe, but again, they're all very, very
She's
strong.
been doing well. She wasn't necessarily on our top list, but definitely a recognizable name and athlete.
Esther in what, 11th position, I think, after the log carry, over 2 minutes behind. That's a hard gap to bridge. Maybe she's not that comfortable in the water with
Potentially.
those 2 swims already. So
Well, I would say she always performs well on the long distances as well. She chugs. She keeps going. On this hill, she'd be beautiful.
Speaking of beautiful,
seeing Nicole run down the hills as well, she's just got... I always think of you when I think of downhill running, because you've taught me very well about downhill running. And it's great to see when athletes kind of let themselves go.
exactly what Susanna's doing here.
She's looking strong, Nicole, as well. Those arms.
So we might be looking at 3rd place here. Yeah, that was Elsa Ripstra. Great showing from the Dutch runners
today, yeah. So within the top 4, 50 seconds. The top 5, just over a minute on that log carry difference. I wonder if, let's have a quick look at what happened with the men. There were much bigger gaps in the men at the log carry.
Alright, Nicole is in the last bit of residential running before getting in the technical part of the course, all the way up to the castle.
She's been working on her mountain running lately, she's been saying, which will help her here, even though this isn't, you know, it's not what you would consider mountainous. There's definitely lots of uphill. There's the steps, there's the inclines. If you're good on mountains, it's going to bode well here, isn't it? And it should help as well when it comes to those technical downhills.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a mountain course, but it's definitely not a flat course either.
Yeah.
And here she goes. That's the technical ground. Look at that, it's very rocky there.
So easy to slip. You can hear people cheering. Something that's been great about this whole weekend is the amount of support, because there is so much in the town, in residential areas. There's very little that's been very remote.
Susanna is just behind. She can... Is she going to be willing to take some risks and try to catch up? Does the sandbag come in? We know that it's a very technical one. And before that, there's the inverted wall and east. So we're going to get to some obstacles now. Let's see if Susanna can catch up. And Elsa here.
Allez, come on.
Struggling a lot more than we've seen Nicole struggle so far. For 3rd place, I mean, she looks tired, and it's a tough course, and that is fair, but the difference between 1, 2, and then 3rd, and 3rd, who appears to be quite far ahead of the others.
There's a bit of a technique choice as well, right? She was using her hands to push on her knees going up.
Which I love.
Exactly. It doesn't mean necessarily that she's tired. It means that she might actually be using all the powers that she has. So.
I was going by the breathing, but to be fair, we hadn't heard Nicole breathe, so.
And we gotta be careful. The breathing might actually be that of the rabbit.
Ah, okay.
I think closer to the mic and the cameras.
Yeah, fair point, Martha. Catching up to the man. Love it.
They are not loving it, it seems. They're looking back.
They set up a long time ahead, didn't they? It's difficult, isn't it, with these pro waves? Because I really think, you know, setting off this far after the men, the women should have a clear course. And you don't want to gatekeep.
I think we don't have the exact detail, but I think that was not just the pro wave. Those are not the pro runners for the male.
Okay, I was going to say.
They might be, if they're runners, they're going to be either age group, might be age group behind. Open, I would think open would be after the pros. I don't think that we have open runners on the course, but it might be age group runners.
It's difficult. I do know firsthand the difficulty of how to organize heats and how to get everyone out on the course, because you have logistics of getting them out on course and getting them off course and making a good run for everyone. And I know all those logistics exist, but I'm always going to comment on women having a free course.
Yeah, I think the most important as well is to make sure, if that happens, if they end up catching up on age group runners, I hope in the pre-race briefing
they're told,
they're being told, like, please let go.
The only time that
Look
athletes don't
Rocky.
get out of the way is when they don't realize. They're very courteous.
Yeah, usually, yeah.
I love Thomas has just made use of every single part of the course.
Inverted wall. Here we go. Gonna be able to have a bit of a
J'ai vu que ça choque à des moments, ouais.
split. Okay, she still has to run to the inverted wall though. So as we expected on the running part, Nicole definitely increased the lead.
But like you say, the end of the course is kind of the obstacle heavy part. Carry heavy. The heavy part.
It's absolutely not done, but as you've seen, she's just done with Jacques Hoist, and we see Susanna getting to the inverted wall. So I think, yeah, we're looking at 30 to 40 seconds lead probably, which is still nothing.
She's hopping through this landscape, isn't she?
Yeah.
She doesn't actually look like she's trying that hard, and I don't want that to come across as a criticism. She looks like she's gambling. You know, she's joyfully going through. She's not powering, but she's going so fast at the same time. Second and third very close together. We saw Clara at the beginning, very early on, but we lost her slightly. She did go through the log carry in 4th place, 2 seconds behind Elsa, but we're not seeing her now.
Good technique with this Hercules hoist, which is one of the most interesting obstacles, at least for people who are newer to the sports. For the pros, they all know. They all know how to do it, right, and how to do it efficiently. If it's your first time pulling on one of those, it may feel daunting. But you need to really learn how to use your whole body to do that, and not just your arms.
Choosing her wall carefully.
Fortunately, she went on the side where she's actually there's a bit of an incline. The other side of the wall might actually be a tiny bit better.
Well, I assume she will have recce'd the course and chosen. I mean, she ran through and chose what she was doing.
She chose the third one compared to the first one. I think she probably preferred that to be close to the sandbag carry after. Look at that, she couldn't go on the turn directly. But I think the other side of the wall is slightly better, but it's very minimal.
It wasn't a problem for her, that's for sure.
Yeah, she goes on the sandbag, enjoying the first few meters that are fairly rolling, and then danger, indeed.
These last couple of weekends, I've just been absolutely astounded at the capacity that people have and the way that they can push themselves, the way that they can continue to train. And just watching Nicole here reminds me of that. And it's, you know, such incredible athletes here today. It's easy to watch this and not realize how much work is going in, because they make it look so easy. But the second you see them in real life and you realize just how strong these people are, and there's so much, you know, it's not just about the race, it's about everything that goes into it. And anyone can do these races, anyone can try them, and it's a great way to start in open and work your way up if that's what you want, or continue in open if that's what you want. You don't need to do either. You don't need to go down either direction, but try and feel what happens when you push yourself to this extent. It's incredible.
And then
Susanna and Elsa really close together.
Come on, come on, come on.
This is Elsa Ribstraat from the Netherlands. Again, a very Netherlands heavy day.
Yeah. As you can see, Nicole is struggling quite a bit, but it makes sense. This is really steep. Yes. It's rocky. She's doing just fine. I don't think anybody's going to do much faster after. I don't like where the sandbag is.
No.
It might be a bit better higher up,
It
maybe on the
feels
shoulders.
like that's going to be incredibly tiring on her arms.
Yes, exactly. But again, she knows what she's doing.
She
We're not gonna...
seriously does know what she's doing.
Now, sometimes, especially on those kind of races where there's lower and lower amount of oxygen going to your brain, so we might actually see some people making mistakes that they don't often do. But look, she's...
Look at the strength of those arms.
Yeah, absolutely.
She is, I mean, she has built muscle there.
The risk is there is a, but she's also likely aware of that. There's a monkey bar obstacle just there at the finish, so I hope
I'm interested you said about that, because I was looking and thinking, I know with the way that my body works, that wouldn't be the best way for me to carry it to maintain forearm strength.
Exactly.
Don't forget to smile for the teacher.
But look how strong she is.
Yeah,
She's incredible.
she has energy to spare, but for many people, I would not recommend using your arm too much for the sandbag if you have a monkey bar.
This is a similar kind of monkey bar that we saw in Morzine, the up-down kind of wide stretch, which is okay at this point in a race, but can get really tricky for the shorter athletes.
Exactly.
She managed that really beautifully.
Yeah.
She just takes off again. She just takes off at speed.
That's something that we've seen during the 100-meter course yesterday, is really hard to design obstacles that are going to be optimal for pro athletes and for open runners, let's say. If you make it a bit, I mean, it seems almost too easy for pro athletes, so you want to make it a bit harder for them. But if you make it harder, I mean, for pro runners, for open runners, it becomes almost impossible.
The 100 meters is a little different. It's not a race that's open to open.
Exactly.
And it's a set standard course that the athletes then practice again and again. I think the beauty of Spartan racing, in the past they never used to provide maps. It used to kind of be like, you just get what you're given and you work with it. And you don't know what's coming, and that's part of the difficulty, which is very true. It's but it is, course design is not something I think I would be able to do well. It is a very difficult game.
Nicole is taking a bit of time to prepare a spear, so Susanna's gonna see her.
And we saw Gregory Basilico take his time with this.
Oh,
no.
She's heading to the penalty loop with the bucket. Oh, Susanna knows now coming here. She must have seen.
Will she have seen her?
Here you go.
She
Yeah,
saw
wow, this is incredible. If Susanna can get the spear.
Susanna was coming in just 40 seconds behind Nicole at the last timing.
Looks like. She got it!
She got it! Oh my gosh, this has changed the race. Why is it always the spear that changes the race? Can Nicole make up this time after this penalty?
Wow.
Are there any obstacles that Susanna is going to miss?
40-second lead for Nicole turned into probably a 20-second lead for Susanna. That is incredible.
There's Clara. We've not had our eyes on her for a while.
We have a race on our hands for sure. Do we have a replay for that spear throw? Right on. Perfect.
I mean, congratulations, but tough for Nicole there.
That's a fairly easy cargonet to get down and out of the castle.
It almost feels like it's slightly more in the way than anything.
Almost, yeah. Yeah, that's about a 20-30 second lead. Oh yeah, there's a quick wall first, so wow. Quite a bit of running, so she can make up that ground.
Yeah,
but as
we're
we
getting
discussed,
to the second part of the course, which we discussed would be Susanna's strong point.
Swim, the bucket carry and the swim at the end are going to make a...
So we saw Clara there on the monkey bars. We were saying we hadn't seen her for a while. And Elsa was in third place, but we've now seen Clara overtake on the monkey bars, moving into third place. We saw her really strong at the beginning. She was on our, pardon me, on our kind of top athletes to watch. She's been working really steadily, doing well, climbing up.
Elsa struggled probably on the sandbag carry, so two things. Either it's just
She's
specifically
very
the
slight,
sandbag,
isn't she?
or she started out a bit too fast, maybe.
Potentially.
And then when you get to the top here, yeah, she's now in fifth position.
She's in fifth with Sara Backstrom from Sweden, part of Team Stream, taking fourth place. Sara's had some really great successes at European races. This is a very strong field, and she's doing very well currently.
look at Nicole's pace. Well, actually,
She's going.
It was impressive, but Susanna's pace is impressive as well. So it's just the fast descent that is conducive to that.
We're seeing a similar race to what we saw with the men, with two up ahead battling it out.
Yeah.
There weren't these changes in the men's race necessarily, but they were close. Clara, such a strong athlete. I love how strong she looks. She looks fantastic.
She was pulling something out of her belt. It might have been a gel or something like this.
Yeah.
And that could be really smart because it's a fairly short race, but like we said, not
using a lot of power.
Super short. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that can make a difference over the last stretch. Having just that bit of energy in your body, but mostly just in your brain, knowing that there's a bit of sugar. There's some action on the brain before it even reaches.
Is the time for that to get working at this point?
What, for the...
With the gel?
For the gel, yeah. Well, actually, again, if you're looking at just the impact on your body, on your muscles, it might even be too short. I mean, it might be a good timing to get some energy during the swim, but it usually takes some time. However, the action on the brain, this is immediate. Almost like somebody cheering you on the side of the course. Your brain gets some boost from that, and that really is the case with sugar.
Here we go, moving into the village. So Susanna's moving really fast. She's seen the pace that Nicole was moving at. My question is, I mean, we know Susanna's an incredible athlete, but can she keep that pace up?
That's going to be interesting.
We do have the swim, we do have the carry. There's not as much running left, so probably, yes, she can keep that pace up. But the mental side of it right now is interesting.
Okay, she knows, she's just out of the A-frame, and she knows that Nicole wasn't there yet. So that gives her an indication. She knows she has at least, what, about 10 seconds? She knows that for sure.
We were talking yesterday when we were doing the 100 meters, and we were talking about how it comes down to seconds and you can't slip on an obstacle. And whilst we were saying that, I was thinking, but you know what, even on a beast, you can't slip on an obstacle. Even on a sprint, you can't slip on an obstacle, and it can come down to seconds. Sure, it can come down to milliseconds on 100 meters, but even on a course of this length, I still see that excitement.
Yeah, at that level, it's just one spear. And we could see the time that she took to get ready with it. Sometimes it's just being careful, and sometimes it's when you have a bad feeling about it, and you kind of wait for some inspiration almost, but that's kind of the double sanction, because you're wasting time waiting and then wasting time with the penalty loop.
Basilico took his time, and we commended him for that. It was the right thing to do.
Exactly. So that's why you need to know, am I taking time to breathe, like people, for example, in biathlon, when they're having to shoot and they need to get their heart rate down?
Yep.
Or are you wasting time because you're kind of afraid to miss? And that's a completely different scenario.
I know that the spear throw is a really contested obstacle within Spartan, and a lot of athletes hate it. I love it for those reasons. I don't always love that a race is won and lost on the spear throw, but I like the fact that it's an obstacle that relies on different skills. You know, are you able to control yourself? Are you able to take the time you need in order to get that aim steady? Because people practice and practice and practice this. It's not the skill that they're lacking.
Agreed.
Clara going for the double roll there.
I think you made a really good point. If it's a very short course, let's say something less than 15 minutes, having everything rely on the spear throw is kind of a bit too much. Now, this race is going to be 45, 50 minutes for the women's. Nicole can make up that penalty loop, but she's going to have to work for it. That's what's interesting.
Without the swims, I think she would have had such a head start that that spear throw wouldn't have been a problem, but the water did seem to slow her down.
Now, was she taking her time knowing she was in the lead? In which case, she might be able to get the last swim faster.
Maybe.
Because she won't have to save any time. It's going to be all out to the finish. They're getting in the last mile now.
She doesn't want to lose this win. She went out strong. I know she's confident and strong and well practiced. And you know, this really is her time right now. Look at her going down those steps. You know, she's not wasting any time. She will want that win. Every athlete wants to win. No one wants to lose first place, but Nicole is on it right now.
what a roller coaster as well for Susanna, right? Because she was second behind Nicole, getting closer and closer. Then she lost a bit of that lead getting up to the castle. She could actually see Elsa just a few seconds behind her. So thinking, oh, I'm going to lose second place. And in a matter of, what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, she actually got to first. And now she's trying to extend her lead.
I do, again, I'm going to comment on the fact that this is in Europe and seeing the strong European athletes. You know, we had OCRWC in Europe in 18 and 19, and I remember a comment being said that the results didn't count because it wasn't in the US. And which is kind of insulting to everyone who is there. And I think when these races where you get the Europeans and the US athletes head to head, and you can see there is really strong competition, it's really good to again prove the point, because very often what we see is series. You know, we see the Savage series. We see last year Manuel Defoe traveled to the US and he did win. A European Swiss athlete won the 3K series. But very often these, let's call them regional, national series, are only raced by the people in that nation, so it's hard to compare like for like. And then you get the athletes together and you see the competition is strong and fierce everywhere. And even with Yvonne Zhu coming from China, we don't have many Chinese athletes. It's great to have her here too, to show the spread of OCR and the spread of talent.
Absolutely. I think 10 years ago was the first World Championship. That was kind of the case. People in Europe were winning the European races, but anytime they would come to the US, they would barely crack the top 10.
Aside from John Albin.
Aside from John, which... But yeah, so that made sense, and that was a reasonable point 10 years ago. Now, it's almost the opposite. Is when American runners come to Europe, they're not necessarily doing that great. The competition is really fierce here.
I think European OCR is on the up, and I definitely recommend anyone who's competitive to come here and give it a go.
I think by default, anybody who's not showing up doesn't have their voice to express on like, yeah, the field wasn't good enough. No, I mean, you could have been there.
What a wild theory, Martin. I think also something I want to commend the European team on is their production of the races. You were with me in Morzy and you're here in Hvar. You've seen both of these championships. They really pull something incredible together. And what you get is a combination of UK and different European teams kind of working together to make this. And it's always such a spectacle and such an elevated experience. So even if you're not competing for the top 3 spots, you know that by coming to these championships, you're going to have a really, really, really good time.
Yeah, we could definitely see that yesterday with the 100 meters. With so many people coming from Asia, from
the Philippines
Americas.
Had a fantastic show yesterday.
All right, back to the action.
Back to the action.
Nicole is getting...
She's running so fast.
Look at that. Did you notice she has a bucket on her back, right?
There are a lot of humans who couldn't run that fast without a bucket.
Yeah, true. I think she is...
I would love to know what pace she's moving at right now.
She's catching up a little.
She's not going to let this go. She's going to...
Everything's going to be on the swim. Oh, look at the pace.
She is moving so much faster. But Susanna has the swim. Susanna has the swim.
We'll see if she is actually faster on the swim. Yeah, we can see the rabbit over there. So they're going to be, what, 10 seconds apart.
This is so exciting.
With the time to drop the bucket, I think they might get in the water at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that. She's getting really fast.
And we can see here with Clara, there's uphills here. And you might not... Diving in,
oh, wow.
butterfly. I mean, that's the kind of swimming that a real swimmer can do, isn't it?
That's not the most efficient one. She's gonna, the technique, she's gonna have to change something. She cannot do the whole thing in butterfly. I don't think this is not efficient. It looks nice, impressive.
It looks nice,
but
and
it's not efficient. Look at that. She's getting demolished.
Nicole is just, she's doing it for efficiency, isn't she?
This is really not efficient. She's making, this is not necessarily physical, but a strategic mistake from Susanna here.
It was beautiful. I think that was a shot of the day to see her diving into that water and doing butterfly, and it shows efficiency in the water, but she wasted time.
What she's doing now is a bit better, but that energy in just a few strokes of the butterfly, look at that. She's getting...
Is Nicole going to be able to overtake in the water? Is it sensible possible for her to? Probably not. But does she have time after? Because we saw Basilico coming out of the water, taking his time. It took him a long time to get out of that water, and he still came second.
I think if she had seen the men, she would have gone on the left side
Yes.
of the lane. Then she could have been.
She is. Oh,
they're both using the.
Yeah. I thought they were either side of the rope, but they're both.
Oh, on the rope, yeah, but she would have gone completely on the far.
So she had the
left to be completely alone. And then the next thing is at the end of that swim, the cargo net is really on the middle, so you wouldn't lose any time by going on the far end. Okay, she's trying to overtake now, but she has to go. Look at that, she's going on the other side.
Gosh.
That's smart.
She
I
is
think that's
full
smart.
on swimming. And this is ocean swimming as well. We're not talking choppy water, but it is very different from swimming in a pool.
She's trying, but
She's
it's really
trying
hard.
so hard.
It's hard.
She's not. She's okay. She's gone back.
Ah, that's.
I mean, honestly, I think if it was, the water's not deep enough, but I would potentially go under. Underwater swimming is always easier.
There's breathing.
There's breathing, but you know,
See,
she used a lot of energy trying to go round her, going out to the side and going round. She's still trying.
There's still enough room that I still believe going left.
I think that's too much of a risk. I'm losing my words. I'm so excited.
But I think here, I mean, unless she knows she can run faster after with the rope climb and the obstacles remaining, the good thing is, if Nicole is inherently faster here in the water, she's going to spend less energy going at Susanna's pace.
Well, what we just said was, you know, we said this on the last race, was it's the sensible thing to... Where's Nicole gone? Oh, that's Clara.
Yeah.
Athletes knowing where to push on what they're strong on and when. You know,
look, I think that she's actually taking it a bit easier. It feels like Susanna is wasting a bit more energy. So if Nicole now, you know, spend the last minute kind of breathing and being okay, she might have what it takes to get the final push.
With this rope, it's not. This is a case of using your arms and pulling yourself as fast as you can with a bit of a kick.
Even just that net, I mean, it's taking some energy. Ooh, oh.
Oh.
Okay, that's neck and neck. Oh, we have.
It's incredible how just that taking a breath to get ready can lose you a second, which makes such a difference here, so close to the finish. They're almost neck and neck on the rope climb.
And we're going to commercial break.
I believed you for a second.
I'm obviously kidding. We are staying right there with this incredible race. Come on.
Making the use of the branding to get dry.
Yeah. Come on, you can't make a mistake here. That's the make or break. All right, can Nicole make it?
Oh, Nicole.
The race is contested here on this multi-rig.
This is so exciting.
They're both being really careful, and that's the right move.
Remember what we said earlier about Nicole? She spent her time recovering ice climbing. That's not just regular climbing. We know that great athletes like John Alden spend their time bouldering and climbing to get that grip strength. Ice is something different. We lost a cameraman on the floor. Even they can't keep up with Nicole right now. She's heading to the slip wall.
Oh,
Susanna's stuck.
That's what we said. I think Susanna lost a lot of energy pulling on the rope during the swim.
Yeah.
And now look at that. The bell is right there, but she can't.
She can see it in her face.
If she
she's going to lose second place if she doesn't hit that bell.
Yeah.
Come on,
oh,
Susanna.
No, yeah,
oh.
She had to take the penalty loop. Oh my God, with the chain.
Could this lose her second space?
Could. I think she had a bit of a lead on Clara, but not sure.
Clara was in the water whilst they were getting out.
Oh yeah.
Clara came to the water,
130?
Sorry, that is the fortress. Let's look at the pier. We've only got Nicole coming out at that point.
And she is finishing. Look of relief on her face, vertical net, and then she's done.
She had it from the start. There was a dicey point in the middle, and I thought, was I too confident here with Nicole? Never. She is so strong at the minute. She was calm and steady. Like I said last weekend, you know, even by the end of an incredible, very mountainous, very high altitude 15K race, she was still calm and steady and finished with a big lead. She has it in her right now, and she deserved that win. She really, really has deserved that win.
Nicole Miracle is our champion 2024 Spartan Sprint World Championship.
I just want to point out that's 3 competitive races that she's done in 9 days across 2 continents.
Mind blown.
And she's won all 3 of them.
You bet she did. And Susanna finishing. She's going to secure 2nd place. Clara was just getting out of the water.
She was just too far.
Yeah. Which shows that, I think, battling for that 1st place, they had a really good pace in the water, actually, pulling on that rope. But that's where I think Susanna lost a lot of that grip strength.
I was concerned about Nicole and was she using too much energy trying to overtake, but she did the right thing.
She tried once, she realized it would cost too much energy, and then she figured it would be smarter to wait for a chance, and she knew on the multi-rig she could
What we're seeing here, this kind of distance, is what we were seeing earlier in the race. Nicole made up for the penalty loop, basically.
Wow, quite confident.
Very confident, very strong. She's an incredibly strong athlete.
And Susanna passing the line in 2nd place. Congratulations.
Yes. A well-deserved podium spot for her. That was an incredible battle between 2 amazing athletes.
Nothing to regret. You can see on her smile, right? There's no... We could see yesterday in the 100 meters, some people getting to the finish, missing for like a fraction of a second and being really disappointed and frustrated.
Nothing to be disappointed with there.
Absolutely.
Nothing.
And Clara finishing for the 3rd place. Hey, look at her cheering with the crowd, enjoying that 3rd place. Same, I think she was never battling for the first 2 spots, so no regrets. She can be super proud of her race, and she is. Third place finish.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a fight between these 3 pro athletes, showing us just why this is the World Championship right here.
Let's look at the time. I think Nicole was about, like we said, just under 50 minutes. Yeah, just around that.
Wow.
Yeah.
47.16. That is, compared to the men, the top man finished at 39.48. For the she did finish ahead of her countryman Sean Roberts.
Absolutely.
She placed in the overall ahead of him. Now I'm going to say, without having all the information, that something must have happened on that course, because I know for a fact he's a track and field competitor. He's a really fast athlete and he's incredible on obstacles. I'm going to say this wasn't a normal day for him.
There's no water on track and field, right? So
no, but you know, no.
That's what we like in. Look at that.
Oh my gosh, stuck. Oh, this is why I don't do this. I'm terrified of it.
She's actually getting stuck. It felt at the beginning that she was. Oh wow.
Did you get help there to get unstuck?
Yeah, so I was just saying that's what we like, obviously, with Spartan racing, is that people from different horizons come here with their strength and their weaknesses, and being strong in one specific area doesn't guarantee a good results.
Well, that's the beauty of obstacle course racing, isn't it? I mean, we saw yesterday how much fun the 100 meters was as a defined course. I have lost my word there. Everyone knows what I'm saying. A regulated course is exactly the same every time. The athletes choreograph their movements. It is down to the 10th of a second how they move. OCR is always different, and it tests the athletes over and over and over again. And it's an incredibly difficult sport for that. It makes it hard to make it a professional, big-time competitive sport, because it makes it hard to create a competition that's regulated. And I love it for that. I don't want to see that change.
It doesn't have to be that, exactly.
We have our top 8 women through so far. So our Sprint World Championship, Female Championship here in Hvar at the Spartan Sprint is Nicole Miracle from the USA. In second place is Zuzana Kokomova from the Czech Republic, followed by Klara Kajakova, also from the Czech Republic. Sarah Backstrom coming in 4th. Huge congratulations for Sarah on that. Followed by Elsa Ripstraat from the Netherlands. She was running in 3rd for a big chunk of the race. Tatiana Pektavsevara, I'm going to try that again. Tatiana Hekserava, coming in 6th place, followed by Esther Portobayova in 7th, and Inez Thevenord Motet from France in 8th.
Great job on those names.
Oh my gosh, my voice is so tired after the last 2 weekends. I apologize to everyone for butchering your names. I myself am used to it. That's an incredible top 9. Signy Caroline Kolstow from Norway coming in 9th. That is an incredible result. She had a great weekend last weekend. A couple of 4th places where she really battled with some really great athletes. That was a tough course. That was a tough sprint. We're looking there. Signy coming in at 53 minutes. That's...
Nicole Miracle, I was all prepared to talk to you about these long years back, the injury and all that, but we got to just talk about that sprint. Have you ever had a finish like this?
Really? And it was interesting because I came prepared to actually swim, like freestyle swim. But the rope, and then save your legs a little bit too. So I tried to make a pass on Susanna in the swim, but because she was in first, the rope like wasn't fast enough to get around her, and so you just had to settle in and figure that out later. Kind of tried to.
Did you know how short later was, that there wasn't going to be that only was a quick rope climb and a quick rig?
I did know that, and I figured that I could kind of rely on my strength and just maybe do those 2 faster sprinted. I love the fast finish. So I was kind of like about 30 meters to sprint. That's enough.
I mean, you're very obstacle proficient, but when you were trying your hands off, were you thinking like, oh my God, I need to rig for my life now? Or were you just take me through that last obstacle there?
My whole thing was like sprint finishes. Like in the 1500 and the 2000 steeplechase, like I would sit and kick as much as I could. I was not a runner like I do now in Spartan races. And so even like that amount, having like 50 meters left, I was like kind of licking my chops, like I can still take this left to sprint.
And there was a moment when you did sort of take her by for good. You threw the sigh of relief.
As I pulled onto the rig, I realized that it was quite slippery, and that if I didn't focus really hard, that I was going to slip off. And just like, I've raced with Zana, for a number of years now, and I figured that if I was struggling, that she was probably also struggling the rig. I just held on. Then, I had a little bit of sprint, and okay.
All right, so last question. You won in Mammoth a little bit ago. You won here today. Are you now officially back after a couple of rough years?
Yeah, I think so. I think the 3-year mark after ACL surgery is typically when you start to feel, quote unquote normal, and that's what I'm experiencing now. Like I don't think about my knee anymore. I have other new injuries to think about. But I feel like I'm back.
Congratulations. USA.
Thanks.
Of course. So we just saw there on the finish line a couple of athletes, Federica Toni, Federica De Caria, and Erika Sciala, all kind of collapsing on the finish line. They were coming in the top 20, top 16 actually. And it's great to see. I mean, we know that these athletes, both the Federicas, are really strong and place really well, respectively, in the UK and Italy. They really looked like they were suffering. I think it's always a great reminder of how tough these courses are.
Absolutely, like for the men, when you see this kind of runners getting there in 15th, 16th, 20th position, you know that the field is pretty deep and the course is quite difficult.
Quite difficult.
To put it mildly.
To use the American quite. It's great to see Nicole again on the finish line and talking about coming back. Here we go. Here's our top 10 women already in first place. Nicole Miracle. Second place, Susanna Kokomova. Third, we have Klara Lukashkova and Sarah Backstrom in fourth. Elsa Ripstra came in fifth. Tatiana Peksevera in sixth. Esther Horto-Bagiova in seventh. Inez Thevenord Motet in eighth. Signe Caroline Kolstow in 10th. And Henriette Bartrum in 10th. Incredible range of athletes there from an incredible range of countries. We're seeing a lot of different nationalities. I'm saying that again. And as we mentioned in the men's, it was a European top 10, but we do have an American topping the leaderboard here today, really proving her strength and skill in obstacle course racing across different courses.
I think we have...
Susanna, so nice to see you. I think the last time I saw you was in Andorra, maybe about 7 years ago, and you didn't have this little person running around. So what is it like to win now? All these years later?
It was amazing, especially on sprint, because I have my age. It's common that you can run a long time, but you are not so fast. But this was so special track, so swimming. So it was amazing, and
What it was like, just in that road, knowing he was right behind you the whole time.
I know that she's better on obstacles, and I felt that I have tired my hands, and I didn't know what will happen after you will go out of the sea. My hands were salty in the water. You have a cream on your hands, so bad, and they were so struggling for the multi-rig, and I was struggling too, and then I fell down. I didn't touch the belt. But I think it was amazing race. It was very great for victors, and a little bit not so good for me, but I think that second place it's worked for me.
I saw you drop your hands. Were you nervous when she finally got right next to you, or were you just thinking about finishing the obstacle?
I don't really think about finishing the obstacle, but it's so that there is nobody behind us. When I was good, I was singing somewhere. That second level is not perfect, and I know that because I think it's the best, really the best in the world now in obstacle races. This twice our champion in stars. I came to the lead, but she didn't take it. So she is better runner, she's better on obstacles, and I is stuff. So I think that maybe she could be the first one. Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you.
So she mentioned there about her age, and I think, you know, it is something to comment.
adieu, on se sera à la sortie les doigts. Hein. On va chambrer Thibaut qui a rien branlé à cause des hommes. Ah ouais, bah c'est clair. Hein. Faut bien des gens à chambrer. Mais oh putain, quand je me suis retrouvé sur le premier, après la forteresse, genre je me suppliais de revenir.
As they get later in life, but there are difficulties. She mentioned it. It's definitely an interesting aspect, but that does also mean she's been in the sport a long time. She knows what she's doing.
You do gain experience for sure. So anything that's really short, it's hard to keep the speed that you had when you were a little bit younger. But as we discussed, we're almost to an hour of racing. I mean, less than 50 minutes for them, and that's getting almost to the endurance realm, and that's something that you can keep improving for years.
Yeah,
all the way until 40, 45, 50 years old. Some of the best ultra runners in the world are in their 50s and beating some of the young guns that seem to be full of energy. But what you make up with in speed.
Congratulations. Can you tell me what it's like to finish an obstacle race with so much swimming?
I didn't try to swim, so it was so hard. But I've done it, and it was so great. I'm happy that I started.
Did you think you had a chance at the podium today?
I am third, so I'm surprised.
Did you know that you were in the front with Nicole and Susanna, who were two of the greatest obstacle racers of all time?
I think I'm fourth, so I don't know. So I'm really surprised at the end.
Did you make your spear today?
Yeah, I did.
And did you ever feel confident that you were going to stay in the top 5 at that point?
The race?
Once you hit the spear, did you think the rest of the race would be smoother sailing?
When the rest, I'm there at fourth.
It's okay. Listen, congratulations. Back to you, Fran.
Thanks, Matt. Nice to hear from Clara there on the finish line.
It's quite interesting. She was saying she didn't even know exactly what place she was in, and that's until the very end she got kind of surprised. And that's what happens, especially with those penalty loops here and there, and not having on something that short. You don't necessarily have the information. Sometimes the rabbits don't know. They can't necessarily tell them.
This wasn't the usual course where you're out in the open and you can see things. There were very few opportunities to actually see who you're running against. Obviously, at the top two, they knew that they were swapping, but there was a lot of changes happening elsewhere, and she's not necessarily to know who is ahead of her and who is behind. Let's have a quick recap of the results from today. We've had the male and the female Spartan Sprint World Championships here today in Hvar, Croatia. It's been an absolutely incredible weekend so far. We still have the Super to go this afternoon. That is not a World Championship event, but will certainly be a lot of fun and a very difficult course. In the men, we had Stijn Legrand coming in first, followed by Gregory Basilico. Frank Oosterom in third place, Richard Heineck in fourth, Peter Saniga in fifth, Jesse De Heer in sixth, David Labrosse in seventh, followed by Manuel Defoe, Petra Dornak in ninth, and Goncalo Prudencio in 10th. And for the women, which we just saw, and we're seeing the recap now with Nicole Miracle crossing the finish line after an incredible finish. The race literally happening in the last couple of 100 meters. Nicole Miracle from the USA did take the win for the women here at the Sprint World Champs, hosted by Hvar. Susanna Kukumova came in second, Klara Lukajakova in third, Sara Backstrom in fourth, Elsa Riepstra was fifth, Tatiana Paksarava in sixth, Esther Horta-Bagiova came in seventh, Inez Thenovod Motet in eighth, Signe Caroline Kolstow in ninth, and Henriette Bardrum in 10th. And here we get a beautiful shot of Hvar, which is just, I've said it so many times, I'm going to say it again, incredible. Such a beautiful place to be. Such a gorgeous place to be running Spartan Race. And so nice for the spectators too. I want to see more of this mix of getting a little bit of tourism. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time.